You might have seen this kind of keypad app in your phone, in which each digit is added on button click and there will be a back button in which removes the last digit. Let's see how you can implement this using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So here is our reference image. This is a keypad app of our phone app, in which there are several numbers 1 to 9, asterisk 0 hash, and there is a dial button and there is a backspace button. So there will be minor modification in this. Instead of this ABC, DF, we will have empty spaces here. We don't need this plus icon here, and we don't need the dial button here, and we will move this backspace up here. So our final output will look something like this. In this we will have keypad numbers 1 to 9, asterisk 0 hash, and when we click on this we can add numbers here, but only catch is there, that is we will have a 10 digit limit. When it crosses 10 digit, it says max 10 digit allowed, and when we click on back button, we will click the last digit will be removed, and when the last one digit will be removed, the backspaces will be removed. So let's start coding this, and let's see how we can do this. To start this, let's start with a folder. I will create a folder called Keypad App, and I will open this in VS Code. Let's say I open a new window, open folder. My folder is in desktop, Keypad App, open. So currently this is an empty project. You can open the VS Code and open any folder in it and set up along with me. So first we will need a index file, index.html file, and for this project we will be using Tailwind CSS, so we will need to set up Tailwind as well, and also we will need a script file because we will be doing this using DOM manipulation, vanilla JavaScript. So index.html and script.js should be fine. We will add some config file as well, so that we can get autocomplete features here. So I have used this extension called Tailwind CSS Intelligence, which help me to give autocomplete features. Whenever I type any class, it will suggest the available classes, with the help of which I don't have to remember all the classes here. So you can install this extension, but there's a catch here. In order for this extension to work, you will need to have a config file. So you need to create a new file, tailwind.config.js, and you will need to paste this code. I'll attach this code in the description below, and after that, for Tailwind setup, we will use the CDN for now. Let's say Tailwind CDN. You can search for Tailwind CDN. There will be the first link, Tailwind CSS, and clicking on the first link, you can see the play CDN link here. You can copy this script src cdn.tailwind.com URL here, and I will be copying the whole script. And let's start with the HTML code. I have added HTML file. So for this to work, what you need to do is you need to attach the script at the end of head section. Usually script is attached in the end of body section, but this script is basically working as a link for CSS, so we are attaching it in the head section here, and then we will start coding in the body part. Also let's include this script tag. Usually script is included at the end of body section, so let's do script src, and our file name is script.js, and we have included it. Now for this project, I will be using some tools. First is NordCave Tailwind cheat sheet. This helps me to find the available classes, all classes. There are many classes in Tailwind which we can't remember, so we can refer this cheat sheet for any class's name. And I have used this icon for the back button, which we previously discussed. Instead of using this black one, so we are going to use this red one for now. So let's first download this. You can go to flat icon and search for black space here. I will download this. Let's say free download. Let's name it this DS, and so I will add this backspace PNG in the current directory here. I will add it here. So basically the right convention is to create images folder and attach a PNG file here, but for now we'll add the bs.png file in the root directory itself. Let's save this. Let's check once by running this project. This project is running now, so let me open this in Chrome. So currently there will be no output here. So now let's start with the div tag here. So first we will need to have a black background as we are mimicking this particular layout. So let's first create a div. So we will be covering whole width and height here. So we will be using class w-screen. So you can see here, you will be get auto suggestion here because of this Tailwind config.js and Tailwind intelligence extension, w screen and w-h-screen. So when you hover on it, you can see the properties as well. What is the meaning of this particular class? W-screen with 100 viewport width, and similarly h-screen means height, 100% of viewport height. And let's set the background to black. Now you can see the background has changed to black. Now let's continue with our setup. So on the top side we will need two divs, one for the text content and one for the back button. So let's create a div, and inside this div there will be two divs. First div is for result. Let's place the dummy value here, and another will be a icon which we have downloaded. For our case it is an image. Now it is better to use svg image, so bs.png. so currently it is very used. So what we can do is let's add some classes. Let's say let's set the width to 24, height to 7 and class height to 7. Let's save this and let's check the output. The output look something like this. Okay, let's inspect this and check it once. Okay, so currently these two are layout in a column format. We want them in a row, so let's add a class. Let's say we will add a flex. So currently it is in a row format, but here the catch is this text is not visible here. Why it is not visible is by default the text color will be black, our background is also black, and the text color is also black, so the text is hidden here. So what we will do is for the whole div, what we can set is text to white, and now we can see the text here. Okay, then let's move these two div into the center here. So to do this, let's move to our parent class, which is the screen class. Let's add another class here, display flex, justify content center, align items center. This will center the div here right at the center. Currently we can see there see that the number and icon is slightly misaligned here. So what we can do is add item center here, and if we add that, you can see the text as well as the icon is rightly aligned now. Then the upper section is done. What we need is these two. Still there is some alignment issues here, so what we can do is remove the height for now. Yeah, now these both look perfectly aligned here. Now let's move to the keypad section. What we need is 1 to hash. So we will need around 12 divs here. So let's start with the container here. So for the container we will be using wrap property, class flex for display flex and flex wrap. What this does is it takes as much width we assign to it, and if another box takes more width than the specified element, it goes to next line. So here what we can do is create 12 boxes with the same name because in the future we don't need to add separate listeners to each of the boxes. So let's create 12 divs with class name num. So you might have known about emit extension. What it does is it helps to create large number of tags in using some shortcut. Let's say I want to create a class with num, a div with class num, and I want to create 12. So what I can do is dot num dot refer to div. So dot num, what you can refer to is dot num means a div with class name num into 12 means create the same type of div 12 times. So if I do 12, If you get this setting icon, you will be able to follow this instruction. By default in VS Code, the emit extension is built in there. So when I click on enter, 12 div will be created. Let's start adding this 1, 12, 1 tab, 2 tab, 3 tab, 4, and next is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, asterisk, 0, and s. So currently the layout looks something like this. Now what's the problem here is so in the parent I have applied display flex, which means there's by default the flex direction is in row. All the items are arranged in row, but we need our items in column. So what we can do is flex dash col, and it will create the layout something like this. This is in one row, this is in one row. But again the problem is, as we have done flex wrap, it takes as much width as required and move on to the next part. So what we can do is, let's set the width here. Let's set the width to width dash 30. Okay. Now what we can do is, according to this layout, the text looks fine, and we need this kind of background and rounded edges here. So rounded circle here. So let's add width and height to it. Let's add width dash. So what we can do is add to all of these at once. So width dash 7, height dash 7. Let's set background dash gray to, let's say, 500, and I think we will need padding. Let's check first. The output looks something like this. Okay. And what we need also to do is apply flex here, because we want the items in exact center. So first let's add flex items center and justify center as well, and let's add some margin as well. Margin bottom dash 2, margin right dash 2. Let's save this. The layout looks something like this right now. And make this rounded as well. So let's say rounded full will make this complete circle. Yes, they are in circle right now. So width is currently not working. Let's try with 32. Yeah, it works now. So currently width is 32. Currently the layout looks little bit out of place here. Justify center. Now it is in the center. Looks good now. So let's remove the static text we added here. So currently the layout will look something like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 asterisk 0 hash, and there will be a back button. So this is the HTML and CSS part. We use Tailwind CSS to include a script here. Then we started with the container, in which we set the width to 100% of view width, viewport width, 100% of viewport height, then set the background to black and the text color to white. Once we set the text color on the parent element, all the children element will inherit this property. And to align this, we use flexbox. First we use the display flex, then we set flex direction to column, then justify content center, align item center to center the div, and then for the upper section with this number and this image, we created a div with display flex and item center, align item center. Then we created a width of 24, which is approximately 6 rem or 96 pixels here, where we will be displaying the result. For example, 1 2 3 4, we will be displaying it here, and we will be using this icon to display this back icon. And for the number layout, we have used this flex wrap property, by which by default in flex what happens is all the child elements are compactly put in the particular direction, whether it is row or column. But using the flex wrap, what we can do is individual element can take their actual width, and if they don't fit in the particular width, what they can do is move to next line or next column. So this helps us to create this kind of layout, and for each element we have created this num class. This num class will be handy once we move to DOM manipulation in JS file. What this will help is, since all the buttons we'll have this num class. What it does is we don't have to create event listener for each of them. We can use for each loop and map to all the elements, add event listener using for each. And then we have set the width and height to 77 here, and background color to 500, and display flex, item center, justify content center to put this particular number exactly at the center. And we have added some margins here and rounded full to make this a full circle. I hope this HTML CSS is clear now. Now let's move on to JS part. Before moving on to JS part, what we need to do is add some unique identifier so that we can uniquely identify the DOM elements here. So for the result, we will add ID result here, and similarly for the back icon, so I will add ID back here, and for all the buttons we will have class num here. So let's move to script tag. Script is already connected here in the last part, script src js. So now what we can do is let's first start with the divs. So let's first select the result div and the back button div. Let's say I have the result div. We will use document.querySelector. The advantage of query selector is that you can use to select particular item, particular ID, or by the class name as well. So I will be selecting by ID. ID name is a result, and similarly I will do the same for back button. So hash back. So to check whether it is working or not, I will set the results text content to, let's say, a number 123 123 123. Let's save this and move on here. The content is dynamically changed here. If you look to ID result here, it is currently empty. What the script.js does is it injects this particular value 123 123 123. So the output will have 123 123 123. Up next, what we will do is, let's first implement the back button. So what we need to do is create a string. Let's say final result into a string. Let's set this string into this and set the value to this. So final output will look something like this. And what we need to do is add an event on this particular back button. When I click on this back button, last one element needs to be removed. So let's add event listener in back.add event listener. The type of event will be click. So add a click event listener, and there will be a arrow function here. Then what we will do is, on clicking that event, we will update this variable. So for this, what we can use this logic is a substring. What we can do is retrieve all the string except the last one. For this, we can use final result.substring. You can use slice as well. For this, I am using the substring. Substring 0, as I want to start from 0 index and second and last index. So what we can do is final dot length -1. And finally we need to update the content. So result.text content equals to final result. So what we have done is add the event listener named click type of event listener, and what we have done is updated the final result so that we can retrieve this merged value ignoring the last one. So if I go here, the output still looks the same. When I click on back button, the last value will be removed. So by this way we can implement this one. Now let's add a logic here that if the elements is empty, the back button should also be removed. So what we can do is, if the length of the result is equal to 0, what we can do is hide this back button. Back.style.display to none. So currently it is like this. If we remove the last element, it will be removed. Don't worry, we will be reappearing this particular back button in the upper section. So let's add the empty string here. Currently output looks something like this. Now on the next part, what we will be doing is adding event to each of this button. First, let's select each of this button. So what we will do is, I will create a variable called buttons. Document.querySelector. Instead of query selector, I will be using query selector all here. Query selector will select the first matching element, whereas the query selector all will select all the matching elements. So what I will do is document.querySelector all. I have given class name num to each one. For the class name we will be using dot. The class name is num, so we will be using dot num here. And let's test by console logging the value here. Console, yeah, we can find the 12 nodes here. So what we can do is we can iterate them using a for each loop. So btns dot for each, what it will do is iterate for each of the 12 buttons here. Let's name the iterator I and console log the value. So when I run this, we can see the 12 divs here, and let's try to get the text content as well. So currently you can see there is some padding along this text content as well. This is because we have given some padding and width and height to this particular element. To remove the spaces and padding, what we can do is use a function called trim. So you can highlight and see, removes the leading and trailing white spaces and line terminated characters from a string. So now we can see we can get the individual character without any spaces and white spaces and the trailing line break as well. So up next, what we need to do is add an event listener to each of them. So what we can do is I.add event listener, and then we can do type of event is click event and use the arrow function here. Then on clicking event, what we need to do is add that particular text to last of that particular element. So what we will do is update the final result. So final result plus equals to what we have retrieved here, we will update to this plus equals to this. And finally we need to update the text content as well. So we will set a result.text content to final result. So what this logic will do is, first let's understand the btn.forEach loop. What this will do is iterate the loop for all the buttons. In this case, the buttons will be 12 buttons which we have created from 1 to hash. And after iterating for each element, I will be first of all will be for 1 button, 2 button, similarly to hash button. So we will add event listener for each element. The type of the event will be click, and what we have done is whatever the final result is, initially it may be empty, or in the middle it may be, let's say, something like 1 2 3 4. What we need to do is add the enter number at the last element. So what we have done is final result plus equals to the trimmed value. And to show the result on the browser, what we have done is result.text content equals to final result. Okay, let's save this and test this one. Initially it would be empty. If I do 1 1 1 1 1, it will be added here. And if I do on back button, this will be removed and the button will be removed as well. So now let's do some changes here. So initially when we load this particular web page, the back button is still showing up. It shouldn't show up as there are no digits left here. So what we can do is set this at the starting of our code. So let's run this. So initially it shows something like this. We don't actually need this particular line because initially it is empty and we don't need to show empty value here. So output will look something like this. But whenever we click on any button, what we need to do is display this particular back icon. So let's add the display to block. Now what will happen is let's say there is no output, no back button here. Whenever I click on any button, this should appear here. Oh sorry, I have added in back button. This should be added for each of our buttons here. So let's refresh. Whenever I type something, it will reappear here. Now another problem here is let's say I have added more than 10 digits here. There will be overflow problem. 9 digit, 10 digit, 11, 12. There will be overflow problem here. So what we will do is limit the total digit length to 10. So what we need to do is, before adding any value, what we need to check is if the length of the final result is equal to, let's say, 10. What we need to do is show the alert max 10 digits allowed, and we need to add this in else button, else case, otherwise it will be repeated as well. It will show the alert and the text will be automatically added at the end. So let's save this and test this. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. And when we try to add the 11th element, We are still getting the error. Oh sorry, we need to check the final result dot length here. So let's again check this. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. In this, max 10 digit allowed is here. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. Yes, only 10 digits are allowed here. When we click on back button, this will be removed, and on clicking the S button, it will be removed as well. So this was our simple project on DOM manipulation, in which we learned how to use. First we started with HTML and CSS, specifically with Tailwind CSS. We learned how to create this kind of layout here, and moving on, what we learned about is DOM manipulation, handling the styles, as well as adding click event listeners, and some validation check as well, digit check as well as empty condition check. I hope this particular tutorial was helpful for you. Thank you for watching this video. See you on next video. Bye bye.